What's up everyone, I'm Jessekazam and welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video. In this video, I wanted to share some gameplay from a raid I did a while back on my stream on the Terra Group Labs. We ran into multiple different squads, we got into some really cool gunfights, we dropped a lot of people, and we ended up not being able to finish this one out. So this isn't going to be a full Lessons from Beyond the Grave where we kind of go step by step through every process, but I wanted to show you this raid and how it all panned out, and then just give some thoughts at the end, some general tips of what I could have done better, and what, some things I learned from this experience. But this was a pretty cool raid, so I wanted to share that with you guys. I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. We would absolutely love to have you stop by and say hey, ask any questions, or even just hang out. But with all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm scared.
Внимание персонала. Лифты в секторе Р введены в строй.
Yo, Daniel Boone, GG, bro. GG, that was a nasty shot. Was that your teammate that I got with the thermal SKS? Yo, Chat Night 69. There's another guy close. A third party. There we go, boys. Yo, Daniel Boone, thank you for that follow, by the way, dude. I did not know we were out. Whoa. Elevator getting called. Yo, Darton177, GG, man. Dude, GG. Hope you're memeing, dude. Dude, Zara. If you want to go ahead and watch the VOD back and tell me if I was camping, you can. This isn't going there, does it? No. Yeah, it wasn't you. We're hearing lots of elevators getting called. We need to make sure the thorax is up to 100. Actually, that's not worth. It's just not going to repair well. I was wondering if the I don't know if that was the fifth guy's buddy or if that was just a third party, because we made a lot of noise. So it's always a bummer to die after you've got a really great raid going on, but being able to watch it back for me really helped me kind of work through some of the things that I could have done better. So right off the bat, I started to play really slow and scared. You start hearing footsteps. This goes back to what I say all the time, which is like learning the maps. A really, really experienced labs player would have been able to identify exactly where some of these targets were. They were running all around me. There was all sorts of metal, and then there was wood, and then there was all sorts of different sounds. So I kind of played really passive. I was scared. I kind of hunkered down in that room. It ended up working out for a lot of the things because they had no idea where I was. They had no idea I was there. But just watching it back, I was like, man, I need to continue to play this map and learn how to identify exactly where people are. I don't think I would have won an engagement by just pushing out after I first heard people, though. We start to see that there's a lot of PMCs around, that initial team was, I believe, a 5-man. And so it ended up working in my favor to wait, gain as much information as possible, and then kind of engage when I felt like I could. The first initial shot dropped an enemy, which is always good. We were able to connect on the second guy that pushed in. I actually did not know this until several days later when I was reviewing this footage for this video, but this kill right here was actually, I killed 2 players. I was always wondering why the kill count at the end said 6, but I can only count 5 in my head. But if we slow it down, you can see that this is actually 2 players that I was able to kill with 1 mag. So I had absolutely no idea there. I think the biggest takeaway from this for me, and I was talking to my chat about it right after this raid ended, was that we stayed where we were way too long. After we started dropping people, we kept coming back to this room. We kept kind of, I called it returning to the scene of the crime. And that was a bad decision, I think. So it's easy to say that absolutely you're making an absolute ton of noise. There's loot all over the ground. Anybody that's going to be coming up is going to want a piece of that. They might be pushing me to finish me off and steal my loot. So staying exactly where I was not a good idea. Also, if I know that I've got multiple limbs blacked out and it's going to take me a while to heal, getting into a place where maybe a corner or a place where I can hear people coming from a lot farther away, or I don't have to watch as many angles, or my escape route isn't as complicated, would have been incredibly helpful, because all of that healing meant there was tons of time for people to slow creep and get to positions without me even knowing. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think the thought process there that maybe a lot of you guys can identify with is a few things. It's one, the farther you get into a gunfight, the more people you kill, I find the more my decision making starts falling apart, because I feel like I've used it all up and I get shaky, and you really want to. That's when the gear fear comes in. It's not just the gear fear of my gear anymore, but it's the gear fear of my gear and their gear, or my gear and these 3 guys that I just killed gear. I want that gear and I'm scared to lose it. So all of that starts to come in the longer a firefight goes. When you drop 6 players, subconsciously I'm like, okay, I have some time, or okay, like, nobody else, there can't be anybody else around. And those are all assumptions that you should never do in Escape from Tarkov. There's always one more. There's always a scav around. There's always some threat nearby. So letting my guard down was a big mistake here. And then once again, when you're driven by loot and not survival, you start to make some bad decisions. And that's exactly what was happening here. I didn't want to disengage too far away because I was scared that some player would just run up while I was healing, scoop some of the loot, and leave. There was so much. There were 6 dead players laying on the ground here. If I had played it right, I could have potentially got the guy who killed me, which would have been 7. No one person could take that much loot out. It would have been better for me to prioritize survival and then just get some of this loot later. But those were some of the things that I pulled from watching this back. Hopefully that these fights were entertaining to you, and hopefully you were able to pull something that'll maybe help you during your raids as well. Thank you so much for checking out this video. We've got a ton more beginner content and a bunch of stuff like that coming in the works. If you like this video, think about dropping a like or subscribing for more content like this, and drop a comment down below if you have any questions or if there's any guides you'd like to see me make here in the future. Thank you so much for checking it out, and we'll definitely see y'all on the next one.